నమస్తే వెల్కమ్ టు మన టీవీ స్పెషల్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ లైబ్రరీ సెన్స్. ఈ రోజు మనం లైబ్రరీ సెన్స్ లో భాగంగా ISBD అండ్ ఆటోమేటిక్ లైబ్రరీ కేటలాగ్స్ లో దట్ మీన్స్ మార్క్ ఈ రెండు విషయాల గురించి తెలుసుకుందాం. మరి వీటి మీద మనకు అవగాహన కల్పించడానికి మనతో ఉన్నారు సుదర్శన్ రావు గారు, రిటైర్డ్ ప్రొఫెసర్. వారిని పరిచయం చేసుకుని డీటెయిల్స్ లోకి వెళ్దాం. నమస్తే.
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ సుదర్శన్.
సో యాక్చువల్లీ వాట్ ఈస్ ద నీడ్ ఆఫ్ ISBD?
ఓకే, ISBD means International Standard Bibliographic Description. ISBD is a standard that is really going to play an important role in describing the documents.
Okay.
Describing the documents where it really becomes necessary. We have been in the libraries preparing the inventory tools like library catalogs. In the catalogs, we try to really show to the user that what are the documents, books or periodicals or journals or any other document, what documents or what material is available in the library. We are really going to communicate to the user in finding them through our library catalogs. Honestly, library catalog is an aid or a tool or a key or a guide to the collection contained in the library. So when we are preparing a tool like catalog contains the bibliographic records information in that. In all the bibliographic records, so there are two important components will be there. One is what we can really say is access points. Maybe author is an access point. Title could be another access point. Then other subject, the related keywords could be access points. Then authors, besides authors, editors could be access points. Translators could be access points. So then sometimes, of course, series also information is an access point. So these access points, we call them as one type of elements in the bibliographic record. Honestly, there are two types of two components are there in bibliographic record. One is headings or the access points. The second component is really going to be the description of that particular document information. So headings merely will help only in accessing them. The description will really help people to distinguish one particular book from similar other books. One single author must have really written several books. Author name is same. His books are something different. The same book written by the same author could have been a different editions also. So I as a user would like to see a particular book written by an author of so and so edition. I don't say, for example, when I am really talking about colon classification, it's 6th revised edition and 7th edition are the one that are the latest, say, for example. Now, user is not really interested in the 6th edition or 5th edition. Probably today's reader wants not 2nd, 3rd edition or 1st edition. People, they really want 7th edition. So we should be able to describe a document such a way in a standard manner so that user will be able to really find what exactly he wants without any kind of inconvenience. So honestly, if I really come back and present it in another way, in the library catalogs, maybe in automated mode or maybe it could be in a traditional manual method, what we really do is we prepare some kind of bibliographic records in them, catalog records. We also call sometimes as catalog entries also. So each entry and each record will have two components. One is what we can really say is that really going to be headings and access points. The second one is really going to be the description of the document. So description is really going to distinguish a specific particular document very precisely, and therefore now what really happened in these days is instead of just focusing more only on the access points to find out the books, now the description has become more important. Therefore the description has gained importance, and there are different methods are there. The methods are really going to be different countries, so they have come out with their different local standard methods of describing the documents. Now say for example, all the catalog codes are the standards in their own way. Now we have really emerged into the latest catalog code is going to be Anglo-American cataloging rules, in which the ISBD constitutes the part 1 of the ASCR. Okay. So this has become very important, very important in the sense only to correctly identify a particular book. People may be asking from the title of the book or author of the book is one dimension, but no, actually finding out the specific particular document of specific interest is really going to be description. Like, therefore, what really happened is the ISBD's International Standard Bibliography Description, instead of really having different countries and different catalog codes, if people really practice in different libraries, sharing of information is really going to be difficult. Like, exchanging of information is really going to difficult. Like, so what really happened is, now this was way back in 1969. It was a kind of an international conference was really been convened by IFLA, International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions. Now in the year 1968 to Copenhagen, and that was exactly what we really call it as IMCE, International Meeting of Cataloging Experts. So in that meeting, they said that different countries and different, the institutions and organizations have been using different types of library catalogs using different standards. Thereby what really happening is sharing of the information, exchanging of information is really becoming difficult. So in order to really make them a suitable communication viable tools among and between the institutions, organizations, libraries and different countries. So this has really been come out. This has been really been initiated by the IFLA. IFLA is International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions. So in 1969, the experts who are really IMC experts, International Meeting of Catalog Experts, they have really resolved that there could be, instead of having multiple so many individual standards, there can be one single standard, international standard. If that is really been followed by all the countries in the world, sharing of bibliographic records information is really going to be convenient and easy. So with that, they have really resolved to come out with a kind of international standard that has really taken a shape in 1973 as a kind of draft ISBD. That has been really practiced in different libraries. The draft version is an experimental version, has been really practiced in different institutions, and ultimately in 1974, the ISBDs were really brought out. It is the initiation made by the IFLA.
Okay. So what is ISBD contains?
Yeah. So what really ISBD says is the descriptive element of the document, not the access points like author title. So when I say the other bibliographic elements like the title of the document, the edition of the document, the imprint, publishers, distributors, manufacturers, printers information, the collation, what you can also really say is the how many number of volumes the particular document is in, the how many number of pages it is in, etc. This kind of information, and sometimes also gives the series information. Sometimes it also really gives you the ISBN number. Normally, what we really use to uniquely identify a particular document, ISBN or ISSN number, etc., and some kind of notes component, etc. So honestly, what I really want to say is ISBD contains those areas of information, those sections of information which were really been important to describe a document. So in describing document, we are really using the ISBDs. In that, in ISBD G is there, one important aspect is to be really understood. ISBD G is International Standard Bibliograph Description. Okay. G is it's a general international, ISBD G is General International Standard Bibliograph Description. It's a general format. It contains 8 areas of description. 8 sections are there in that. If you really ask me that, what are those areas? The first area in the description is going to be the title, subtitle, and other, the statement of responsibility relating to the title of the document. So title is the first component, precisely. Title, subtitle, and the statement of responsibility relating to the title. Like, when I say statement of responsibility is really nothing but it is the author is responsible for the document. Probably editors are also the subsequent statements of responsibilities. Probably the translators also, sometimes illustrators also. These are all the subsequent statements of responsibilities relating to a particular document. That is the first section, first area of description in the ISBD. The second area is really going to be the edition. There are a particular document on its revisions, it is different periods. The revised editions will be coming up, first edition, second edition, etc., etc. So always the latest edition is really going to be the kind of the one that really reflects the current and updated information like. So the edition is the second edition, and the statement of responsibility relating to edition is also will be there. author must have written a particular book, afterwards somebody else must have revised also. Therefore, it becomes sometimes necessary that for edition also there must be a kind of the editor, the edition also, somebody who has really revised it, that fellow person will be there. So, the statement of the edition and statement of responsibility related to the edition also will be there. The third area what we really do is, it is material or type of publication specific details area. Now, it deals with, there are books are one type of material, serials are another, periodical serials are another type of material. Say for example, manuscripts are another type of material. Say something like video documents are another video. Then motion pictures are another kinds of documents like. Similarly, computer files another document. So, like that there are variant forms of material are there, documents are there. So, for each and every different types of material, it really requires some specific kind of description that will really go into the third area, what we really be calling it as the material or type of publication specific details area. Then the fourth area is what we can really call it as publishers, distributors, printers, manufacturers, etc. information will be there. Then the fifth area is what we normally call it as physical description. So, that I just said how many number of volumes, how many number of pages, whether does it really contain any kind of pictures, illustrations, portraits, maps, etc. are there. I think that's it. Followed by that, it also includes in some occasions the documents may also have some accompanying material. Say for example, it is a published music document. You may be having it, the music document will be containing some kind of musical notes only, symbols and notes. Now, along with that, there could be some small booklet also will be given in a print form. That could be a supplement. So, that kind of the accompanying material also becomes part and parcel of the fifth area, what we really call it as the physical description. Then followed by that, for some documents, they really be called, brought out under series names. Something like Sharada Ranganathan, series in library information science, McGraw-Hill series in computer science, Elsevier science, published. So, they have got some series. Series will really indicate a specific kind of the subject field of the documents with the series name. IEEE series documents are something like hotcakes in the world. People really want, I want the IEEE series document, something like that. So, in that case, the series also another area, that is what we really call it as sixth area. The seventh area, what we really call it as a note section or the note area. Note area is just nothing but people, they really many times they get slightly confused. What notes area, what you are really going to write the notes like. This is an area where the cataloger, the librarian. Now, who is really concerned with preparing these catalog entries? If a particular document contains some additional information which cannot be really recorded in the already said 6 or 7 areas, okay, above said areas, he has got a discretion, the flexibility, the choice is there for the cataloger to write on his own some of those important essential information which he wants to or she wants to communicate through the catalog, through bibliography records, which cannot be accommodated in any other stipulated areas. This note section is a kind of flexible discretionary section or area for the catalogers. Then the last section, the description is really going to be international standard book number or international standard serial number, followed by its price part. What is the price, of the particular document, etc. will be really recorded. This is how what really happens is, this is a standard method of having 8 areas of information. It's a logical, the order is there for that. First area, title, edition, then of course, what we can say is the material specific details area, then coming back to the publishers, distributors area, then of course physical description, then goes on series, then goes on note section, then the last section is really going to be the ISBN of the document and the terms of availability. When I say terms of availability is a kind of phrase that is really used to indicate that what is the cost of the particular document. So, ISBD gives 8 areas of description. It stipulates that these are the 8 areas which really go into it, the description apart from the access points or headings. Then followed by that, the another important aspect is that now it also gives specifically the ISBN, etc. Then of course, another important aspect of this is it stipulates the order of the elements that should be really described in the bibliography records in section called what we call the description section. In the description, what are the elements to be described, what is the logical sequence. Another very important aspect in this is that when we are writing more than one area of information or one section of information, one by one, there is every possibility of getting the one section information mixed up with the other section information, thereby creating some confusion. So in order to overcome the confusion, in order to distinguish, individualize each section from one section to other section, we have some kind of specific punctuation marks are there, identifying marks are there. So with the help of identification marks, we can distinguish one section from other section. This is number one. Number two is within a section there could be subsections or areas. These subsections or sub areas can also be distinguished using some specific individualizing identification marks are really used to separate that. If I really want to say an example, if you really, how we can really distinguish is, title will be written straight away, that is what we say title proper. A title may be having its parallel title. We really use equal symbol, indicates that it is a parallel title. It was there in different language. Okay, Vikramoorvasi is a kind of book in Sanskrit. Its English translation is available. The king and his nymph is a kind of title. So first we write the king and his nymph, and equal symbol we write Vikramoorvasi. It's in other language. Then the title may have subtitle. We use some punctuation called colon to individual subtitle like. So like that, what really happens is, so by using the punctuation marks, the information contained in the bibliography records can easily be identified, individualized, can be really understood. Of course not its meaning, but it can be this piece of information belong to the kind of title, this is subtitle, this is parallel title, this is the information relating to the statement of responsibility. So all the piece of information can be easily identifiable. And at the same time, the idea is that even the records generated in different languages, whether we really know them or do not know, we will be able to tell that this is title part of information, this is the statement of responsibility, this is the ISBN number, this is the kind of physical description of the document, etc. We can easily tell, even though document is really prepared in an unknown language. It can be in Russian language, Chinese language, or maybe in Tamil or Marathi, which probably we may not be knowing it. But we can really be able to understand, oh, this piece of information belongs to that particular category, can be really understood. So this is what precisely about the ISBD. It has 8 areas as far as ISBD G is concerned. I said G is a general format that can be really used for all types of material. But at the same time, another important development has really taken place. Initially in 1974, ISBD M has come into picture. M for monographs. Monographs from single one time, the books or the pamphlets like. That's not only one end. I think later it has come ISBD S for serials. So ISBD CM for cartographic material, like maps, atlases, globes, etc. ISBD computer files CF. Okay. So like that, for different types of material, so different ISBDs have really emerged. And each and every ISBD, like they have been really developed based on the ISBD structure only. The structure is almost common. But only thing is a specific element, say for example, when you are really going to talk something about a motion picture. So whether it is sound or movie, okay, silent movie, whether it is a black and white or a color movie, whether it is how many minutes of the duration of the play of it, okay. So then this kind of data is specific to the kind of motion pictures. So like that, what really happens is, for each and every type of material, now we have some specific elements are required, which have been really incorporated in the section 3rd, what were really called as material or type of publication specific details area is one particular area which is really going to accommodate specific details of all types of materials. There are 8 types of materials are there. So they have brought out 8 ISBDs, like ISBD M for monographs and books, ISBD S for serials, ISBD CF for computer files, ISBD CM for cartograph material, and so on. Okay. Now they said in the recent past ISBD ER, electronic resources. Okay, that's one new name for that. Then followed by that, in order to help the users of this particular ISBD, the one ISBD manual also has come. So this is what basically to promote ISBD. ISBD honestly is only meant for sharing and exchanging of the information among and between the different information centers and libraries. That's an idea. That's an idea.
Okay. So actually, what is the scope of ISBD?
Yeah, very good. This thing, scope is, it deals only with the description of the document.
Okay.
Okay. It doesn't really talk anything about its access points, like what are the subject headings or subject key terms, etc. to be really given.
Okay.
At the same time, it doesn't really talk something about its call number. We normally use in our library science. For each and every book or document, we try to really give a call number. Call number is to recall that, to identify that, we really give a kind of subject number specifically. It may have something other one or two more components also, something like what you can say, author or book numbers, and also the collection numbers also will be there, but honestly, it's a subject number for a particular book. So call numbers are not covered by ISBD. Access points are not covered by ISBD. Okay, these are all the specific. It only try to describe a book, a document. That's what exactly the scope of the document. And it has, of course, has got one important element is it has ISBN numbers are part of the within the scope of the ISBDs. Okay.
Okay. So ఇప్పుడు నెక్స్ట్ మనం డిస్కస్ చేసుకోబోయేది అబౌట్ మార్క్.
Okay, right.
So, what is mark?
Yeah. So what really happened? We have been doing this cataloging business or preparing the catalog entries or inventory lists in a traditional manual methods in all these years. And in 1950s and 60s, the computers have started being using in different environments. And not to really see that there are two basic reasons are there. One is economizing our own activities and precisely retrieving them, and also to minimize the labor. As a matter of fact, the automation, what we normally call the computerization or automation practices and different things, we really want to do it like. So precisely identifying things like this is what. So in that context, what really happened, the people have also thought whether this can we also automate the library catalog. Automating the library catalog with a basic purpose that we should be able to retrieve and identify the documents from the collection with a greater convenience and ease and time, without much time delays, okay, in time saving like. So in that context, what really happened is the Library of Congress from US, it has a kind of very rich and vast collection is there with the Library of Congress. So what Library of Congress really thought is, it has really observed, not really thought, that we do have a lot of literature, documents are there in the library, but the library documents are not properly used in the expected lines. What there is something wrong. Then they really try to dig into, and then could find that probably the manual traditional catalogs are really going to be a kind of problem in identifying the books. As I told you, catalog is a kind of the tool for identifying the documents.
Okay. So caller unnadu chudami.
Yes. Yes.
Hello.
హలో సార్. హలో మేడం.
నమస్తే అండి, ఎవరు మాట్లాడుతున్నారు?
నేను ప్రశాంత్ కుమార్ మాట్లాడుతున్నాను అండి, హైదరాబాద్ నుంచి.
ఓకే ప్రశాంత్ గారు, మనతోటి సుదర్శన్ రావు గారు ఉన్నారు, మీ డౌట్ ఏంటో అడగండి.
సార్, ఇది లైబ్రరీ మేనేజ్మెంట్ లో అంటే ఫ్యూచర్ ఎలా ఉందని కనుక్కొని కాల్ చేశాను మేడం.
అడగండి.
ఇప్పుడు నేను లైబ్రరీ అంటే BLISC కోర్స్ తీసుకోవాలనుకుంటున్నాను. అయితే ఫ్యూచర్ ఎలా ఉంటుందని కనుక్కొని కాల్ చేశాను.
Okay. Thank you. But actually, the area of discussion is slightly different from the question what you asked. Yet we try to really answer to you. Now, there is a lot of the scope and avenues for the employment in if somebody can really pursue sincerely the library science programs like BLIBSC or BLSC or MLSC, etc. Quite a good number of avenues are there. And I'm sure many people will be really thinking that library science jobs can be only in maybe like universities and colleges, or maybe to some extent in public libraries, but the scope is there, because the library science is really transforming into under different designations. It is really been offered by different organizations, something like technical information manager or officer, information manager, sometimes even the knowledge manager, so something like librarian. So there are different positions are being offered, and just we have slightly moved or moving away from the core of only library science, but we are trying to really acquire something else also in order to really expand the scope of the employment for the libraries That's how. Now, there are a lot many avenues are there besides in the educational institutions, research labs, then of course scientific institutions, then even other organizations also. People really need information managers are really required. That is really possible. Okay, you can really try to also look into them.
రైట్ ప్రశాంత్ గారు, థ్యాంక్స్ ఫర్ కాలింగ్ అండి. సో మనకి మార్క్ యొక్క ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఏంటి, ఎందుకు మార్క్?
That's what, one very relevant question now. As I was just mentioning, if we can really automate our practices, probably we will be able to do our job with greater precision. And not only that, I think it saves a lot of time for us. Second thing is, I think it makes us to really have a different methods of really accessing the documents, etc. Like, okay. Now, yeah, in this context, as what I mentioned, actually, when I really say mark, I am mentioning it is Library of Congress, which has really initiated the job of thinking about mark, for which the CLRL, that is the Council on Library Resources, has funded it. Then that was really a mark format has really evolved, and it has really come out from the what we can really say is the Library of Congress. And what is exactly when you really talk about mark is, it's a kind of your catalog is really been automated by using the mark. Mark is initially a format. It has got its own structure. Essentially, mark is a method of content designation. The content in our catalog records is going to be, as I just now told you, that it could be author or title or edition, etc. These are the contents in a particular bibliographic record. These contents are codified, they are coded, which we really want to say it is a content designation. So, it is a method of content designation in order for the computer to store, retrieve, exchange or transfer information. So, we are trying to really codify the bibliographic details of the documents and the holdings of the libraries, so that computer can quickly able to really retrieve it. So, retrieving from a manual catalogs, if I really want to talk about it in a different way, for quite long people were really using card catalogs in the library, till even some libraries may also be now using it, card catalogs. Before that, we were using the book form of catalogs. So, book form of catalog is a kind of probably a better record, permanent record, but incorporating the new documents into that becomes difficult. And then of course, it can be only in one or two methods, like these book form of catalog is listed maybe author wise, maybe title wise. The other options like subject wise, series wise, etc., etc. are not found. Any new book is coming, it cannot be incorporated, we have to again reprint it. Okay, it's a difficult job. So then books form of catalog were really been hardly discouraged. In that form, we have really come to the card catalogs. Now, card catalog is very, very convenient. It is a very tough cards we really use. Okay, 7.5 by 12.5 size of the card catalogs are really used, very tough cards, and for each and every access point we prepare one catalog card, and we really put it, and we really make them a kind of amalgamated card, the kind of maybe author wise, title wise, subject wise cards can be really combined and brought out in one dictionary form. Okay, otherwise depending on our requirements, all the subject cards are at shelved in a different point, and then of course author wise another different point, this is, and then title wise other way, we can really put also segregate them. This is what we really call as divided catalog. But in this also what really happening is, the card catalogs have become a kind of failures in retrieving and accessing the books. How they really failed, I can just tell you one or two examples. Like when a book is really written by 4 authors, in our cataloging rules, what they say is, a book written by 4 authored book will be really given a kind of main entry heading on the title of the document, and followed by, we will have only one single first author, we will have an access point. Remaining second author, third author, fourth author, etc., etc., there are no access points. I as a user, if I really remember the second author name and come to the library, do you have that particular book? Say Kunz and Oda, etc., Odanal, etc., they have got some 4 authors are there. I remember second author, Odanal. When I really go and search the particular book, there is no access point, there is no entry, but the book in the library, this is a failure. This is a failure. So, like that, what really happened is, a book may contain multiple subjects in that, more than one subject. Okay. Now, when we have limitations, we can only give up to a maximum of 3 subject add entries or 3 subject access points for a particular manual system books, like when we are creating. Now, there are 4, 5, 6 subject issues are there in that. Now, I cannot represent that. If a user comes from the other aspects which you did not really show in the catalog, books are there, but you are not able to reflect. There are many other examples are there. Say, for example, a title is there, Into the Heart of the Mind, the American State of Artificial Intelligence. Into the Heart of the Mind, the American State of Artificial Intelligence. This is the name of the book. We have talked about it. Then afterwards, when you really go to the library and you want to search for the book, you should be able to know from the beginning into INTO, DHE, etc. If you search that word, I remember only heart and mind, and then I search it, I think I can't get the book. But these are facilitated by the computer. Even you remember the beginning part, last part, or the middle part, prefix, suffix, or middle fix, or any particular component you remember, you have a facility, you should be able to really identify it. Now, when there are more than 3 authors are there, you write only one author name. So, in the computerized catalog, what really happens is, you can really write all components. There are 10 authors are there for the book. In one single entry record, you can write as in, kind of what we can, in the repeated field, one component there. So, you can write all the 10 authors names, all the 10 authors are really accessible. So, that's what really happens is, so computerized catalogs are really going to facilitate the user in finding their information with a greater ease, and it's an all comprehensive one. And another very important advantage for the computerized catalogs is that in manual catalogs, you are preparing for one particular book multiple records, multiple entries, multiple cards you are preparing. It's not required in a computerized catalog. Only one single all comprehensive entry comprising of all the authors, all the editors, all the translators, and all the 10 subjects what really covered in the document can always be written in that. If a user is coming from second author, third author can access it. If a user is coming from another subject, what is not normally possible in a traditional catalog can also be accessible. Okay. Then, if you really don't remember correctly the kind of title of the document, still there is a kind of, means are there. That is, I can tell you any part of information still you can really search. So, that kind of, facility since computerized catalogs are there. Therefore, Library of Congress has really taken initiation, and with that in 1966, the first experimental mark has really been evolved, and honestly, in 1968, the first mark format as the so-called what we are talking about mark is machine readable catalog format that has really come up in 1968. So, this is a brief, the history. Now, what we really want to say, it's a method of content designation. It's a format. It's a format for codifying the bibliographic details and elements of the documents, so that computer will be able to find out, then of course retrieve it. It can really store the information properly. It can also help us to access and retrieve it. It can also help us to transfer the records. It can also help us to share the information. So for storing, retrieving, exchanging, and then for all the facilities can be always done with the help of the mark. That's what the mark has really come into the picture in the beginning days.
Okay. So, what are the components of mark?
Yeah, this is really good. So, because many times what really happens is when we talk about mark, people really think mark could be something, a kind of a difficult component that can be really practiced or used in the libraries. Now, as I said, it's just very simple concept is that simply every bibliographic element is really been coded. When you really ask for some information, I want a book, author is so and so, Ranganathan. Author is something like, F.W. Lancaster. Lancaster, if you can just, type it, now you will really get all the information about Lancaster, etc. Okay. So, that way it is very, very easy, instead of really searching and etc. from the card catalogs Okay. Now, when we talk about the components, there are 3 components are there. The mark has got a structure of its own. Okay. Now, this structure is really been decided by ISO 2709. International Standards Organization has really given out a standard name. It is called ISO 2709. So, mark has first element component. What we can say is it has a structure is there. Structure is really been nothing but ISO 2709. Then mark contains another mechanism. What we can really say is it has got a method of content coding or content designation is there. Okay. Then of course, the third element what we can really say is the content proper or the data proper. So essentially these are the three important components. Followed by that, at the end of each record or each record relating to a particular document, we have got another indication that it is the end record separator. Okay, end of the record kind of information is there. So essentially there are three parts. So this is what exactly will be there as far as the structure of the component of the mark is concerned. Structure, content designation, and content proper. Followed by that, the fourth component what we can really say is the record separator. And if you really would like to know something about what is this structure, in the structure we have another three important components are there. The three important components what you can really tell you is that, the first component it's called a header or a label is one first component. Okay. The second component what we really call it as a directory. First component is label or header. The second component in the structure is going to be called as directory. The third component is actually what we can really say is this is the data proper, and of course the last one is what we can really say is a record separator like. So honestly there are essentially label or leader and then the directory. So label or reader is the first component which has got 0 to 23 characters, which we can really say 24 character space is given for that in our mark formats. Then second one, the leader or label, what it is really going to do is, it will help us to identify the particular document, whether it is an English language book, whether it is a multi-volume book, whether it is a kind of conference volume, whether this kind of things we will be able to really identify with the help of the leader or the label. Okay. Then of course followed by that, the second component what is there in the mark is the directory. So mark maintains a directory of information about each and every field in the record. Record contains different fields. Okay. So something like when I say a bibliographic record, maybe author is a field, title is a field, okay, physical description is a field, ISBN is a field. These are the fields. For each and every field, now it gives a 3-digit content designation. What we really call is as tag number. Every field has got a tag number. Say for example in LC mark or mark 21, 100 is the tag number given for the author. 245 is for the title. Okay. So like that we have got for each and every bibliographic element, we have got one tag number. So tag number is 3 digits. Okay. Then followed by that we will have 2 identifier numbers are there, individual numbers are there. Okay. one digit. Then followed by that what is really there is this particular field where it is really beginning in the entire record. Maybe it is in a record, in a bibliography, the information about author 100 is beginning in the character space in the maybe it is 260 bits space, I think character space, this element is beginning. So what is the length of it? And then that is in the image next follows. Okay. Then afterwards, now then of course these are all the information like the tag number, then the length of the particular the field. Suppose author name is sometimes Ram is it requires only 3 digit space. Now Ramachandra Murthy is there. I think it requires more number of space like. So this is what exactly depending on that. Now the 3 digits, when I really say the 3 character space means if we really want to use 3 character space. Now that means when I really say up to 999, that is 1 less than 1000 characters can be really filled there. If the the kind of the field length is 3 digit 3 character space means that's what exactly. Okay. So like that for each and every field, what is that field, where it is beginning, what is its length, etc. For all the fields we really maintain the directory. Its directory is a kind of list, it is an inventory. So this is what really maintained in the directory. Then of course the actual content of the document will also be there. This is what honestly will be there as far as in the structure or the contents of the bibliographic records.
Okay. So thank you so much for giving such a valuable information about ISBD and